Hello everyone, my name is Daryl. I work as a software developer, and in this video you'll see how I naturally work through a LeetCode challenge. This is a problem that I'm going to see for the first time, and I'll explain myself as I work through it. My solution won't likely be the best or most efficient, it'll just be the one I come up with first as I am working through the problem. So here we're going to do another database problem with MS SQL. This is number 626 on the LeetCode website, Exchange Seats, and it's listed as medium. So here we have a seat table, which just has a ID and name. ID is the primary key, and each row of the table indicates the name and the ID of a student. ID is a continuous increment, as I would expect it to be. So write a SQL query to swap the seat ID of every 2 consecutive students. If the number of students is odd, the ID of the last student is not swapped. Return the result table ordered by ID in ascending order. The query result format is in the following example. So one thing that I would mention about this problem is you would never do this in an actual SQL server because it's very likely that this ID is going to be linked to as a foreign key in a bunch of other tables. And I've never run into an instance in all my database work where you had to change the ID of a record for any reason. The whole point of an ID is that it's unique and does not change, but I digress. Let's select, so the ID is going to be the weird part, but we're going to say ID and students from seat, and we're going to need to order by at the end, but we're going to need this weird ID, what we're going to do to this column. So I'm going to say case when select count from seat S2, we'll make this S, where S2.id is equal to S.id plus 1. It's greater than 0, then case when S.id mod 2. Let's just make sure I do the rest of this. So else S.id and as ID. But in here, so when that's the case, then case when SID modulus 2 equal to 1, then SID plus 1, else SID minus 1, and okay, didn't like syntax. Doesn't like my comma. Let me see here. Oh, because there shouldn't be a comma there. Okay. Oh, I didn't do the order by. Order by. This is the fun part. We have to copy this. That's why I did this. Order by this. Just order by that. Okay, let's try that. So we got a wrong answer. Let's take a look at the details. So here we had 1 Abbott, 2 Doris, 3 Emerson, 4 Green, 5 James, and 6th was Julia. And I gave it 1 Doris, 2 Abbott, 3 Green, 4 Emerson, 6 James, and 6 Julia. Oh yeah, so Julia should have been minus 1. Gotcha. Alright, so we'll have to change it to a case as well. So case when S.id mod 2 is equal to 0, then S.id minus 1, else S.id. So I know I need to copy that down here. I just want to see that it doesn't have any syntax errors or anything. It does. Okay, so it doesn't like the... because I need to put a end right here. And this should technically... let me see here. Oh, let me copy this whole thing. Put it here. Run that again. Submit. There we go. And look at that, it's better than 91.88% of answers. All right, so let's go through the explanation for this one. So basically, we just end up doing some special stuff with the IDs within these case statements. Other than that, we're just selecting this weird thing that we're doing here and the students, and then we're ordering by that weird thing, which is automatically done in ascending order. So in our outer case statement here, we're saying when there's another row. So this is where we're accounting for when we have an odd number. So obviously when we have this odd number, we don't want this one to increase its ID. So we're saying when there's another ID, when there's another record after this one, then we want to check if the current ID mod by 2 is equal to 1, aka is this an odd number? If this is an odd number, then we want to add 1, otherwise we want to subtract 1 from the ID. And then this else is for if there's not a next record, then we still need to check if it's an even number, because if it's an even number, then we want to subtract 1 from the ID. Otherwise, we can just return the ID. And that's basically how this works. This whole thing is an exact copy of this because we want to order by the exact same result. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope that helped you guys out. Catch you guys next time.